What's up everybody? Welcome to a new video. Welcome to my YouTube channel. Today we're gonna talk about the differences in between a quad and a thruster setup. First of all, I want to say that even though there are big differences in between these two setups, the way your board rides and turns on the wave also depends by a lot of other variables. For example, the leader's distribution of the board, the volume, the measures, the bottom, the tail, the rails, the fins measures, brand, materials, and position. So there's a lot of things that change how your board works. But today we're gonna focus on the difference in between the thruster and quad. So having said that, now I will share my personal experience. So I believe that the thruster setup makes your board looser and more agile. For example, with a thruster setup, it's easier to snap the lip and have looser top turns where you maybe release the fins. While on the opposite, when I use a quad setup, I feel a lot of grip and I feel like I'm carving harder and I can keep the carving. I'm more secure, I'm more confident about it. So going more in detail and specific with the starboard boards that I have, this is the 2022 Ultra Code 82 liters. I used to use this board a lot, for example, in the Canary Islands, in Fuerteventura, in side-onshore conditions. And what I liked about the thruster, again, is that it made the board really loose and agile so that I could do really tight turns in those onshore conditions. It permits me to change the angle of the bottom turn while I'm riding. Well, that's way harder with the quad. So yes, smaller waves, maybe even a little less powerful, permitting me to change the angle of the riding, snap the lip on the bottom turn, and just keep going with more speed. Same thing with the 78 liters Ultra Code 2022. I used it a lot in Fuerteventura for even stronger days. But for example, when I went to Fiji for the International Windsurfing Tour event at Cloudbreak in a really powerful wave, I felt like I had to switch to a quad setup because I needed more confidence, more drive, and more hold on those bigger, more powerful, and faster waves. So that gave me more confidence to attack those waves and to be sure that I wouldn't go and spin out, or simply that I could put as much pressure on the bottom turn and on the top turn as I wanted. More recently, I received my new Starboards 2023, the Ultra and the Hyper. And for this year's model, each board comes with only one setup because they were designed and shaped for that exact setup. For example, the Ultra comes only in a thruster configuration, and I've been using this board in more side-onshore conditions. What I like about this combo that Starboard made is that this bigger tail is actually a little stiffer to turn, but at the same time, the thruster setup makes it more loose and agile. So in a way, they put together two opposites and find the perfect compromise. So I've been using this board in Matanzas here in Chile, which is it's a break that is mainly side onshore wind, and on the bottom turn I need to keep that speed, and this tail permits me to do that. At the same time though, once I reach the top turn, the thruster setup permits me to snap the top of the wave and keep going and connect it with other turns. While with the 78 liters Hyper, we have almost the opposite. So the tail, it's super thin and small, which makes the board really loose and so easy to go vertical, to get vertical on the wave. But at the same time, we got this quad setup, which gives me that confidence, gives me that extra hold, grip, and drive, and permits me to go full power on bigger waves. That's why the Hyper 78 is the board that I've been using, for example, in Topocama, which is another spot here in Chile, which is more side offshore, and usually it's bigger waves than Matanzas. You catch a lot of speed, the wind is strong, so you need that hold and that grip when you're going in the bottom turn, and also on the top turn when you're doing the cut back. You don't want to lose the fins, you don't want to lose the grip, and also you want to be able to put all the pressure to have a more powerful turn. And again, this combo just makes it perfect because I can get the looseness given by the tail and the drive given by the quad setup. So in order to make it easier for you to understand and also more relatable, I'm gonna share a few world famous spots and which setup I would use in each of these spots. So basically, for example, in Pozo Izquierdo, Gran Canaria, the world famous jumping spot, I will use a thruster, in this case the Ultra, smaller leaders, but yeah, thruster. And then, for example, in Mediterranean conditions like La Couturière, Carreau, or also in Italy, in Liguri, I would use also an ultra board, so a thruster setup. In more oceanic conditions, or simply like down the line, bigger and more powerful waves, I would go for a quad setup, you know, and in this case, the Hyper. So spots like Hoquipa Beach Park, spots like, I would say also Pacasmayo in Peru. Again, big powerful waves, down the line, quad, smaller waves, side onshore, thruster. So overall, please remember that this is just my personal opinion, given my experiences throughout the years with the brands and boards that I sailed and different type of fins that I used. I would love to know from you in the comments what setup you use, where do you sail, and what are your preferences and what different feelings you feel when you're in the water. I hope you enjoyed the video and that this was useful for you. And by the way, I don't need all these boards and my Starboard Ultra Code 82, 78 and 82 are for sale. So just in case, let me know in the comments and let's chat.